And we're in. What's going on, boys?
Hello.
Hello. Right, so quick intro for everybody. Obviously, this is episode 4 of World of What the Fuck. WTF-Cast. We'll say WTF-Cast, sounds better. So we're joined by, obviously, Loader1990, who is, you all know, is my partner in crime. Fake Cutie, a TBC player, predominantly, I would say, private server scene, content creator on YouTube, and obviously Metagoblin. If you don't know who Metagoblin is, you probably haven't been playing World of Warcraft. So, just going to quickly just go around the table.
I'm not that big.
You're big to me. So yeah, quickly just going to go around the table. So we'll start with Fake QT. So like, where are you playing at the moment? Like, what server are you playing on? What are you playing as well?
Alright, so, well, I'm playing on Gehinnas as a Frost Mage. I recently came back, a few days ago, and I haven't played, since pretty much. But, with next coming out really soon, I felt like now is actually the time for me to catch up and gear up, because we might see TBC at some point. And in case there's not going to be any fresh TBC servers, then I'm actually going to try to prepare my character by, of course, trying to get this gear for Classic, as some of this gear I'll bring on to TBC. And yeah, that's pretty much what I'm doing. Try to invest and trying to gear my mage.
Cool, sounds good. What about you, Meta? Where are you playing? What you been up to? Obviously, we can see you playing from your mate's bedroom because you was out on the piss last night, which is obviously I applaud your efforts.
Yeah. Well, I don't normally tell people what server I'm on. I hate getting ganked, but playing Classic, I play a Rogue. Also playing on Karazhan server, the Atlan. I've got a Warlock leveled up to level 6. And that's about it really. I played an endless TBC as well. 217 there, but I don't really play that server anymore.
Alright, cool. Alright, I've just turned him up, Mike, so hopefully you can hear him a bit better. Put him on 200. Alright, cool. Sorry, yeah, just some sound issues. That's cool. Well, I mean, if you don't want to get ganked, then playing a rogue so you can just hide everywhere is probably a good shout.
It doesn't work still, though. It doesn't work. Stealth doesn't even exist in Classic. People can see you.
I mean, now I know how much you hate getting ganked. I definitely will be stream sniping you. I'll find you.
I can't stream when I play on Karazhan. Just second a stream. I streamed in for 7 minutes the other day. Rogue ganking me straight away. The Blackrock Spire, whatever it's called.
Yeah, I did actually see your rage post on your Discord server saying had to end the stream, getting ganked. I can't even remember. I can't remember what your wording was, but it did make me laugh. What about you, Loader? Where are you playing? What are you playing?
Yeah, as you're aware, obviously Mirage Raceway Alliance, 11 and a Warrior at the moment with you. But yeah, other than that, sort of before that I was playing Horde. Obviously my main was a Warlock on there. But yeah, at the moment Alliance, 11 the Warrior with your Paladin, and hopefully getting that 60, get a bit of prep for TBC.
Yeah, I'm very much enjoying carrying you, I must admit. So,
Yeah.
what about experience in TBC? We'll go in the same order. So, Fake Cutie, what's your experience with TBC?
For I think the last 6-7 years, I've played a total of probably around 10 TBC servers. Some of them I've been really hardcore on, trying to aim for servers first, or at least servers first mage. I think on Endless I was servers first mage. And I've played some other servers as well, for sure, where I've just practicing stuff. But for TBC, I always do first tier content, tier 4, and try to rush. Actually, to prepare for Classic TBC, as I want to make sure I know everything I have to do the moment I hit 70. Tier 5 content, I haven't done a lot. Tier 6 and Sunwell I actually have done quite a while, quite a lot of time, but mainly I always focus on Tier 4, as I know this is gonna be the main part for me in the beginning. Also to achieve something, maybe a servers first or something like that.
Yeah. I mean, I totally agree. That's pretty much what I've been doing, and as everybody knows who's watching on Twitch at the moment, yeah, the amount of times I've restarted and basically, I'm probably doing like 3 or 4 Karazhan runs on various servers a week, and Grawl, Mag. Yeah, Tier 4 has been my focus as well, if I'm honest with you. What about you, Meta? What have you been doing on TBC?
So played it on retail, but never made it to end game. I was quite young, but even though I have work. I'm trying to think of all the TBC servers I played on. I remember back in the day playing on Hellground and Warmane's Outland TBC server. I played on that, and Endless TBC and now Karazhan. That's obviously mostly. I have done endgame and all those, but not really done a lot of tier 5, tier 6 raiding, to be honest. I always kind of lose interest after tier 4. I don't know why.
I think everyone's the same.
Those raids. Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of those where, by the time you get...
Played,
Go on, mate.
Well, I've got more experience on Raffle Lich, though. Not really TBC. That's why I like TBC so much. Fresh. I'm a noob to TBC. That's why I enjoy it the most.
Yeah. I think the thing is with tier 4, or what I've found, obviously, I've only been in the private server scene for probably just over a year. But by the time you get through you get to 70, you get through tier 4, then there's an announcement for another server. And it's like, oh, great, all right, I'm going to go and start fresh again.
What it is, isn't it?
Yeah, that or like all of a sudden they introduce some pay-to-win option where you can catch up, get an instant 70, or like buy some overpowered gear. Not gonna mention servers here. But like that always like demotivate me, and then like I know after a few months there's gonna be a new fresh server. I really like fresh servers. I like the leveling race, like where you first mount and stuff like that. That's always like the funny part, and especially doing like dungeons as well, where you have to gear up for actual Karazhan rules or McFerdan.
Well, Warmane's definitely not pay to win, is it? Let's be fair. Definitely not. That's probably one server that's not pay to win.
Yeah, totally Blizz-like.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, my bank balance would say otherwise, but So, Loader, go on. What about you? What's your lack of TBC experience?
My experience with TBC is quite minimal, in all fairness. More sort of classic based. Started the Karazhan, playing on Karazhan server view, just to get a bit of an idea. I played it back in the days, but like I say, I was too young to actually remember a great deal of it. So yeah, sort of playing on the private servers sort of give me a bit of an insight to it. But yeah, obviously more predominantly classic over TBC. But that's why I'm kind of excited for TBC, just so I can sort of relive it again and sort of understand things more.
Yeah, so just to put it out there for everybody who's watching, obviously, if you're watching live on Twitch, and if you're re-watching it on YouTube, on probably multiple of our channels, obviously Cutie, big TBC player, Loader, I'm just going 2 ends of the spectrum. Loader is big on Classic. I mean, how many level 60s have you got?
6.
Which, I mean, 6 level 60s on the basis I can't even get to 2 is pretty impressive, to be fair. So his knowledge of Classic is extensive, where probably combined between me, Cutie, and Goblin, our experience in TBC is quite extensive. So we've got, we're covering all bases, basically. So before we get into really what we're going to be talking about, that's just an intro. Obviously, I want to give all the guys just a chance to tell you where you can find them, after the stream or after watching this on YouTube. So, Fake Cutie, where can people come and find you?
Well, I don't stream that much on Twitch right now, as like I mainly put most of my time into my own TBC server where I practice stuff. So basically, where you can see me the most is probably gonna be on YouTube, because I work on my guides and then post them on YouTube. But of course, you can always find me on Twitch, and definitely the moment I'm gonna start raiding in Classic again, I'm gonna be active on Twitch, and especially when we're gonna get TBC at some point, I'm gonna stream as much as I did in the beginning of Classic, where I farmed, Black Lotus.
Yeah, that's cool. Well, I'm going to put everybody's, obviously, sort of social media, YouTube, Twitch, whatever you want in the description of the video on YouTube. What about you, Meta? Where can I find you?
Well, my YouTube channel is just Meta Goblin. My Twitch is Metagoblin1. Metagoblin. I've got Instagram as well. Just Charlie_Metagoblin.
So did someone snipe your name on Twitch?
I don't know. They must have. I don't know. Like when I was trying to when I first made my account, I just couldn't have Metagoblins.
Disgusting. There's only one Metagoblin. What about you, Loader? Where can't they find you?
Well, obviously Twitch, Loader1990. Trying to do a bit more streaming during the week, and then obviously weekends, me and you doing that sort of duo stream. Just recently made a YouTube channel as well, so there'll be no content on that at the moment, but I'm going to try and get some on there. Again, Loader1990 on YouTube as well.
Lovely. So I'm just going to quickly put something on screen for those who are watching, which is just going to be the agenda. So sort of briefly what we're going to be talking about. So we're going to be going around the table just chatting over these topics. So sort of the top 3 things that we're excited about when it comes to TBC. Top 3 things we're concerned about or are slightly anxious about is probably how I would word it. What classes we're most excited to play. Well, what class? We're only picking one each. And what class we don't want to play, so what we're going to avoid like the plague, and why you, who are watching or listening now, why you should play TBC, in our opinion, and our opinion's always right. So we'll just kick straight off with we'll go Cutie. We'll just keep going the same way. So Cutie, what's the first thing that you're excited about in TBC?
That's definitely gonna be the leveling race. Like in Classic, I enjoyed the race so much. And definitely if we get fresh TBC servers, which I pray for, then I'm gonna look even further, like more forward to this, because leveling is just a part of it, no matter if you like it or not. It's gonna be nice where you get your new green or blue items. You're gonna replace some items and like you might find some nice new upgrade or something like that. The second thing is definitely arena. For me, I haven't been ranking in Classic because
one at a time. Calm down. Let's just do 1 point at a time. Let's discuss your first point first, and then we'll move on. So what? So when it comes to the leveling race, you said you was excited about that in Classic. Did you win the leveling race on your server?
Well, I was definitely in top 5, I think, and then Blizzard did something amazing, which was 3 character transfers from this high populated server I played on to like low populated, and then I swapped server where I was the only level 60.
Yeah, I must admit the leveling race does interest me. I don't think I'm definitely nowhere near as hardcore as I used to be. So on my server, so I think it was Ragnaros I was playing on at the time. I was the first level 70, not just the first level 70 druid. I was the first level 70, but by a long way. But you got to remember, everyone was. I can't think of a better word to say other than everyone was a bit shit back then. So, including myself, the knowledge and the skill level of people was just much lower back then. I mean, I dinged 70 about 4 real days before the next level 70. So I had absolutely nothing to do. And obviously the same, actually, going off topic slightly, but the same happened in Cataclysm. I actually... funny story. I actually got banned in Cataclysm because I was the first 85. And I exploited my way basically for the last 3 levels, but not exploit. I didn't think it was an exploit. I just found a loophole that made leveling very, very easy, and Blizzard didn't like it, and they banned me for a week. But they banned me for a week, and when I got unbanned, there was still only 4 of us at max level. So I used to be really into the whole quick, let's rush, let's get to the max level, whereas I don't. Well, firstly, I don't think I'm probably skilled and probably experienced enough nowadays, compared to these people who have been playing. You, Cutie, you will level me 100%, because you've been playing private servers for years and years and years. Like every quest, every optimal paths, everything. Whereas back then, no one knew. It was all new. And what was that exploit, I'm being asked? So Kronos, the exploit was, if you remember the gunship on the first quest in Twilight Highlands, you was up on a gunship and you was firing down at mobs. Those mobs, if you was grouped, gave you full XP. So me and my brother would be grouped, And yeah, when one's shooting on the gun, you could just literally get like hundreds of thousands of XP an hour. It was like ridiculously quick. I think we done 84 to 85 would take on average, let's say 10 hours or something like that. I'm making these numbers up now, and we was doing it in like 15 minutes. So you can understand why we got banned, but at the end of the day, don't release it with as soon as we realised, oh hang on, the person who's not on the gun is getting XP. So if I was the one shooting the mobs, my brother would be getting the XP. The other way round, I would be getting the XP, obviously. And we was doing like a level every 15 minutes. Once you realise that, you're obviously gonna exploit it, aren't you? Well, I am because I'm a bit of a thug, but. But yeah, what about you, like Meta? What do you the whole race into max level, is that something that interests you?
Not really. Don't have the time for that anymore. I feel like sometimes if you rush it, you just kind of try hard the fun out of it. It's like say for instance, like looking up a leveling guide fast as humanly possible. You kind of you just kind of ruin the experience a little bit, like that whole fresh. Because if you already know what you're going to do, you already know the quest you're going to do. Sometimes I just like going to a zone and just seeing what's there and just kind of like exploring the zone, exploring the quest, what's going on, and doing weird quests which aren't necessarily very optimal for leveling speed, but I like to do them because they could take you on an adventure halfway across.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, and that I think that's a little bit more along the lines of what I'm like now. Where before it was like, need to be super hardcore, need to no life it, need to book 3 weeks off, at the launch of something and just go ham. Yeah, nowadays I'm like, do you know what? I'd much rather just sit on the stream, get pissed, and if it takes me 4 times as long as anybody else, then let's just do that, because it's going to be more fun. Like you say, if you try hard, you can literally, you can burn out, obviously. And that's what I don't want to do on a classic TBC launch, and that's why I'm laying off of private servers now as well, because I feel like I know enough, or I've refreshed my memory on it enough to now just be able to enjoy a classic TBC launch and just take the rest of classic and hopefully play through Nax and tick some things off my bucket list, because 4 Horsemen, Saffron and KT, they're the only 3 bosses back in the day that I didn't kill. So it'd be nice to kill him this time round, even though it's going to be an easier experience, I think. What about you, Lodo? What's your thoughts on rushing to max level?
Well, to be honest, it's definitely not going to be an option for me. Sort of the quests and the whole sort of TBC being fairly new to me is going to be more of an experience of just enjoying the quests, enjoying the areas, rather than trying to rush to get 70. So yeah, for me, it's going to be sort of reading up on the quests. And getting used to all the zones and that, basically. Yeah,
that's fair enough. All right, so we'll go with mine. I'll tell you. So the top thing I'm excited for, because it could be quite a hot topic, to be fair. So raid sizes. By that I mean 10 and 25 man versus 40 man and 20 man in classic. So I personally like the change. Well, actually, I love the change. I much prefer 25 man to 40 man. I was never, even though I raided, as I say, everything other than 3 bosses in vanilla back in the day, I wasn't JC's putting me off. I wasn't a fan of 40 man. I think it's too hard to organise. Well, it was back in the day, but people are more reliable in these sort of games now. But back in the day, it was a shit show, to be honest with you. I much prefer 25 man. I think it's slightly more intimate, as in you're going to get to know the people that you're actually raiding with, whereas I think in 40 man you're just a number, more or less. It's like there's no communication as such. You've just got one person calling the shots. I think in 25 man it's just a bit more relaxed, which is actually how I prefer raiding now. Thoughts? Go on, Cutie. What do you think about raid sizes?
Yeah, I definitely like it more, especially that I have Suleiman, for example, Karazhan. That's 10 men. I really like 10 men, but at the same time, 25 I prefer way more than 40 as well. There's so many people in a 40 man, and when like a few of them have to leave all of the sudden, it might be like a really important role. But if it's 25 man, I think it's easier to replace, and it's easier to assemble a good 25 man as well. So that's why I really like actually raiding, because it's just more chill and enjoyable. and like 40 people talking at the same time is not that great, I think, compared to like 25 or 10.
Yeah, my thoughts exactly. Meta, what do you think?
Yeah, well, I think the bigger the raid size is, the harder it is to feel your own contribution, really. So many other people doing DPS, it's hard to really feel that you're actually contributing to the raid. So many other people. But when it's like a smaller 10-man raid, you really kind of feel like if you cock up, that could cock up basically every cock it up for everyone else. Like if you make a mistake, it's on it. Oh, what's the fiery dragon called?
Nightbane.
Nightbane, yeah. So if you cock up on that, then it's probably a wipe to start again.
Yeah. Is Karazhan, like, you know, if you was to compare Karazhan to, let's say, Gruul or Mag, you know, is Karazhan one of those raids that you quite enjoy? Because, I mean, I love 10-man raids. I always have. I used to love, in Wrath of the Lich King, you know, ICC 10 Heroic, Alduar 10 hard modes. 10-man raiding is actually probably my preference over everything.
Yeah, I mean, it has a great atmosphere, Karazhan. It's like, there's not many opportunities in World of Warcraft to just kind of explore a fantasy medieval castle, which is a bit surprising. There's only, like Shadowfang Keep and Karazhan. Don't know what else there is, but considering it's like a fantasy game, I just think there should be a bit more fantasy castle. Like kind of gothic.
Meta Goblin wants more castles, you heard it here.
Yeah. Love a good castle.
What about you, Loda? What do you think about raid sizes in TBC? Obviously, you've done some classic 40-man raid, haven't you?
Yeah. Like I say, agree with Meta Goblin. It's a bit more personal in terms of if you mess up, then it can affect it all. Whereas bigger raid sizes, you can afford to mess up, and people can sort of carry you through it a bit. So yeah, sort of smaller raid sizes are going to be a bit more demanding, I think.
Cool. All right. Well, that's my point. Go on, Meta. What's the first thing you're really excited about?
Probably Battle for Mount Hydril, because it's a raid I've never done. Like, well, I've done it. I've cleared it on a higher level character, but I've never really done it in a real raiding environment. And obviously, Battle for Mount Hydril, it's not really like, obviously when you're clearing like bosses in a raid, sometimes it's really hard to feel what's the point of you actually being there. Like the story isn't communicated very well a lot of the time in World of Warcraft raids. I think it's done a little bit better on retail raids now, but like, say for instance when you're going through Karazhan, you don't really, I mean, why are you there? I mean, if you'll have to look up your lore to like know why you're there. Obviously Battle for Mount Hydril, it's very clear, like the lore and the story has been portrayed like extremely clearly, and you're part of an extremely important event in history. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, you definitely love your lore, don't you? You love your lore and you love your castles. We're learning a lot about you today.
Yeah.
But no, I agree, because I was just cracking up. I know you can't see me, but yeah, I was laughing when you said, like, you go to Karazhan, why are you there? I was thinking, yeah, why are you there? I mean, you don't even get sent there, I don't think. You have to physically go there to start the pre-quest. I don't think you get sent there to start the attunement, do you, if I remember rightly? You have to just find your way there and...
No, it starts outside attunement quest.
Yeah.
I guess, like, if you actually read every single quest text of the attunement quest, you get a better understanding. Well, I think it's something to do with it's basically the same as the re-release of Karazhan. It's basically the same story as that. And obviously that was communicated a little bit better because you had cinematics and Khadgar going into Karazhan, and so you know what's up. But I'm pretty sure it's just Karazhan's just been invaded by demons and up to mischief, and you've got to go in and sort it out.
Yeah, I'm annoyed actually. I never actually got to do the new retail version of Karazhan. Was that in Legion? Because I didn't play in Legion.
Yeah, it was actually quite good. I played a little bit of Legion.
Yeah, I never got to do it. That is quite annoying. I mean, thoughts on that? I totally agree. Anyway, fake you, Loader. I don't know about yous. I mean, it's hard not to agree to to be looking forward to Hydril. My only one question is it going to be available at release? Because it was, in a TBC, in a proper TBC environment, Mount Hydril was actually, obviously you needed to do the attunements, like you need to do the attunements in everything in TBC, which is the beauty about it. But assuming that you can kill Lady Vash and KT, then you can go into Mount Hydril in week 1, potentially. There's no gating.
Especially people craft over best in slot, crafting frost, shadowy, and spells. I think over raids.
In my opinion, like all type 5/6 Sunwell has to be gated in the beginning, also because of like the arena seasons. And like you don't want arena season 1 where you have gladiator gear and then someone coming with like type 5. I really don't like that, that's for sure. That's like my point of view when it comes to like gating content.
People will be able to craft Storm Herald early. A big two-handed hammer. Destroy everyone in a arena.
Yeah, there's craftables. Absolutely no doubt are going to be the pinnacle of TBC. You know, anyone who knows what they're going to be doing when it first launches, you know, you can get half of your gear from tailoring as a warlock or a mage or a shadow priest. You know, and weapon wise, you know, for an enhancement shaman, their number one goal is going to be going blacksmithing and getting their one-handers, you know. And again, even that slightly depends. Yeah, and obviously it's amazing, but it also depends on what itemization we go in, which is annoying that I've mentioned that because that's one of my points later on. But it makes a difference, you know, because if we go in 2.0 itemization, they're unique, so you can only use one of the crafted weapons. Again, I don't want to touch on that too much because that is going to be one of my rants that I'm really looking forward to. So, all right, Hyjal, we all agree, going to be great. How it's released, that's probably questionable. Loda, what's the first thing you're looking forward to?
Personally, for me, it's the Outlands, the new leveling zones. I think it's just going to be quite exciting in terms of me being used to Classic and bored of all the zones and everything. So the new leveling zones for me is going to be quite exciting. Also, the rewards you get from the crests for Outlands, you can get some good items from there. And also, you know, the dungeons that they bring. You know, the new dungeons. So that's what I'm looking forward to be fair.
Yeah, I'm not. I'll just put it out there straight away. I'm not, you know, I've done these leveling zones to death. I'm not really overly bothered about them. They're just something that's in the way of me getting to 70 and actually starting to do proper content. But
yeah.
Meta, Fake, are you looking forward to the zones?
Yeah, I mean, my first point was leveling race, so definitely. Even though I might not be doing the zones quest-wise or for racing to 70.
Yeah.
Sounds
I
ominous.
think what I might do is do dungeons or to 70 and then come back over zones at like a leisurely pace or actually into what's going on. You know, the story of a quest like that. Because I feel like if I do quests, you know, 60 to 70, I'll just rush it and I won't request text or really get involved with what's going on in the story. So I'd like to go back to the zones, like Hellfire Peninsula at like level 17. Plus you get like extra gold for that's my...
Yeah, and I think you're gonna have a lot less issues doing the quests then as well, because now we're talking if you've got 70 from, you know, spell cleave, melee cleave in dungeons, whatever way you go, then by the time you actually then are 70 and want to go back and do the quests, once you start doing Hellfire, everybody's going to be at a minimum of probably like Terracar. So you're just going to have no competition for mobs and stuff like that. So probably a good shout. And like you say, you're going to get more gold. So you'll be rich.
Yeah. I might even wait like a couple of months before I go back to doing them, to be honest.
Get to 70 and then just have a break.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. So we've all done our first point. Go on. Oh, we have all done our first point, haven't we? Yeah. So I'll kick off with the next one. So, raid viability. I actually think a couple of us have got this. Well, definitely. I think Cutie, you put something similar to this. So raid viability of almost all specs. So I know in Classic people would argue that all specs are viable, but let's face it, they're not. Due to probably mana issues, like a Boomkin, for example. Yeah, as long as a boss dies in like 30 seconds in Classic, then you'll be all right. But there's certain specs that, yeah, they're just not viable. I think TBC balances the classes. As long as we're going to 2.4.3, they balance the classes relatively well. I'm not going to say really well, but relatively well, to the point where you can raid as what you want. You know, if you want to be a rep Paladin you're not a meme spec anymore. If you want to be a boomkin, you're certainly not a meme spec, which I've proven probably lots of times. Same with like Feral, but then again, Feral's actually good in Classic, to be fair, if it's played right. But I like the way that TBC brings all these classes, all these specs and classes into a more competitive environment when it comes to PvE. What's your thoughts on that, Loader?
Yeah, I mean, I've got to sort of agree with you on all of that. It's, as opposed to sort of Classic, where only one sort of spec is viable. The feeling of every sort of spec is viable in TBC makes it a lot easier on choosing what you want to play and what you want to raid as.
Yeah. What do you think, Matt?
Well, it just makes the game more interesting, doesn't it? Like overall, you see more people in different specs. You don't just see the same classes and specs over and over. And if you get bored of playing your spec, you re-roll to a new spec. And yeah, it just makes the game better. And
yeah, I mean, as a die-hard druid, even though I'm not going druid in TBC, in a classic TBC, I'll have a druid ult, obviously, but it's not going to be my main. But it has been my main for the last 15 years. Having being able to fill every role and do it really well. Boomkin damage is sick in TBC. Feral is as well. I'd say, other than Enhancement Shaman, Feral is actually probably one of the stronger melee classes. In Tier 4, definitely. Start to tail off a little bit in Tier 5. But yeah, having one class where you can just go, do you know what, actually, I'm a bit bored of healing, I want to try tanking, and being able to do it and not being laughed at, it is pretty good. I mean, Cutie, what's your thoughts on it? I'm pretty sure you did have this on your notes, didn't you? The class viability sort of balance.
Yeah, for sure. But like all priests, paladins, druids, and shamans in classic pretty much have to heal, right? Of course, you can't play the other specs, but you're mainly forced to heal. And I think that's pretty sad that if you like to play that class, that you're actually forced to heal. While in TBC, it's completely different. And with like arenas as well being a thing, then you can actually play whatever spec you would like to, and then you can just go for PV and heal or tank and get some gear that you can use. But yeah, that's probably because I enjoy PvP so much as I do.
Yeah, and the balance in PvP is actually it's quite good in TBC, to be fair. Obviously, I'm not going to sit here and claim to be a big PvPer. I got Gladiator in one season, and that was actually in TBC. As in retail TBC back in the day. But that was because I was getting carried by a rogue. But I've not really. It doesn't appeal to me, if I'm honest with you. I've always preferred PvE over PvP. Don't mind going in and doing the odd dungeon and stuff, but I do know that there's the two expansions. Well, in my opinion, experience, and research that are the most balanced is TBC and Cataclysm. Funny enough, actually, was apparently, according to some good PvPers I know, one of the most balanced expansions for arenas. But as I say, that is their opinion. But they are like multiple Gladiator players. Do you know what I mean? They should know what they're talking about, I hope. But that's cool. Anyway, so yeah. Got Cutie, what's your next point? I mean, if your point was obviously was class balance, then we can skip that and go to whatever your next one is.
So like things I'm excited about or what?
Yeah, what's the next thing you're excited about?
Well, I've been covering it a little bit, but that's arena for sure. The fact that you don't have to do AV or some other like battleground all day in order to get the best PvP gear, but you can actually show off what you're doing and how good you are with like your arena rating in 2s or 5s. That's definitely something I look forward to. And that way you can actually just do your 10 weekly games and still climb rating wise. So I don't like PvP in Classic because you have to put so much time into getting PvP gear, while in TBC you do a few BGs and you're ready to do arenas.
Yeah, and arguably I would say, well, not arguably, I think it's probably, everyone would agree that Arena has got a much higher skill cap as well. If you can really play your class, you can really shine. Whereas in Battlegrounds, like you said, with like pushing AV constantly. Technically, you can get away with doing fuck all, to be fair, in AV and still get to rank 14. What's your thoughts on PvP? Are you much of a PvPer, Meta?
Oh, once upon a time when I was a student, had volumes of free time to invest. I don't anymore. So I don't really do PvP because I know that it just to be good at it and to enjoy it, you just have to invest at least 6 hours a day, grinding arenas or rated ones. Gamers. So I only do it really.
What about you, Loader? You are the PvPer out of us all, aren't you?
Well, I do enjoy PvP more than PvE. So, I mean, in fact, my next point was going to be sort of, same fake QT was about Arena, the change to PvP. I like the fact that you're not limited to just doing BGs. You can actually now do Arena, and also the ranking system. So you actually keep your rank as opposed to, on Classic, you've got to put, hours and hours, well, days, weeks worth of effort into to get that rank and then maintain it.
Yeah, which is unmaintainable, really, isn't it? Once you get to 14, there's no reason to actually carry on PvPing, really.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
All right, that's cool. What's the next thing you're excited about, Meta?
I have to come back to me. I was thinking, but apart from Arena, can't really think of much else other than all the other raids that I haven't done yet. Black Temple and someone.
Yeah, so raids in general. I think we're all probably excited about raids in general. So, all right, well, I'll go with my last one, and then obviously Cutie and Loader, if either of you have got something you want to chime in about, obviously feel free. Mine's dual crafting, which is probably a bit of a weird one, to be fair, because it is only a profession, and to be excited about a profession, it's not the most exciting thing in the world, is it? Let's be fair. But for me, for anybody who watches the stream, they know that the majority of the nights I spend, as soon as the stream closes down, I'm streaming then on Discord only, playing blackjack, which I like gambling, and I think dual crafting is like the closest thing to gambling as a profession as you can get. Prospecting. But getting a stack of, let's say you get a stack of adamantite ore, which, I'm going to make gold prices up here because we don't know what it's going to sell for. But let's say it's like 30 gold for a stack of adamantite ore, which I think is going to be probably fairly accurate. You could prospect that and turn it into quite literally nothing, or a couple of gold. You might get a couple of gold return. Or you could get really lucky with prospecting and all of a sudden turn that 30 gold into 200 gold if you start getting living rubies and stuff like that. Which, for someone like me, as I say, is just like, well, yeah, it's pure gold. I love it. I'm quite happy to go around mining and, I could list 10 stacks of ore and go, right, that's 300 gold. Or prospect it all, and maybe it's going to be 1,000 gold, maybe it's going to be 100 gold. I'm looking forward to dual crafting. And on the basis as well, it's pretty much the BIS profession alongside enchanting for PvPers. A lot of people are going to be dual crafting as well, so there's a lot of potential to make some gold by stocking up on those sort of mats now. What's your thoughts on that, Cutie? What do you think about dual crafting?
I mean, I'm not gonna do dual crafting myself. I'm gonna stick to engineering and tailoring, as I'm gonna play mate. So I mean, yeah, it's a good way to definitely make money into. But the bad thing about it is that you have to invest a lot of money as well to all the rare recipes. And on fresh TBC servers, they usually go for at least 200-300 gold, and that's on the fresh server. So you can expect to pay probably 1 to 2k gold for spell power, stamina gems, the recipes for those. That's the bad thing about it for sure. But then again, you can make a lot of money from dual crafting.
Yeah, it's just that gamble, isn't it? What about you, Matt? Do you like dual crafting? Have you got a dual crafter?
Yeah. I like dual craft. It's not even just being a dual crafter, but having gem, even having to just kind of nerd down and up your character because enchants and then you're dual craft. I think actually, ironically, Miss and Pandaria did it best. There's so many different ways that you could optimize your character. But gemming enchants, but you also had reforging and item upgrades. You could upgrade the gear that you had. yeah, there's just so many different ways to just improve your character. But now, like on retail, it all just got. I'm pretty sure it all got removed, like reforging, all that. I don't think there's even gemming barely. It all just got removed. I don't really understand why. Because the more time you spend optimizing and investing in your character, the more like, people just feel invested in your character, carry on playing. But now these days you just feel not that invested in your character.
Yeah, and it removes all that customizability, that...
Yeah.
Being able to choose what you want, an example would be Wrath of the Lich King, which obviously you love Wrath of the Lich King meta. Like a Feral Druid, for example, you had the option of going like fully agility stacked or hard armor pen or soft armor pen with certain trinkets to take you to the hard armor pen cap when it procs, things like that, where all of that's just gone, and that was like that made theory crafting fun. Was when you really needed to try and work out what is the best way when you add all that customizability over your stats.
Yeah, because eventually it got to a point where you just had to stack one gem, and that's when it goes bad. There's a lot. I think it's better when, like in Wrath of the Lich King, you did have to kind of be careful what gems you used in gear pieces, because sometimes it'd be better to get particular gems to get a set bonus. You had to get a certain amount of gems to get your meta gem activated. So you'd have to kind of like figure out a little bit of a mini strategy to gem your character the perfect way to get the perfect stats, the optimal stats, while also bearing in mind those like restrictions of using 2 gems for your meta gem.
But like you say, it just made it more interesting, didn't it? And like you say, with a buying into your character and all of that, that's sort of gone by the wayside. It might come back with Shadowlands, you never know. From what I've seen so far, probably not. Loader, what's your thoughts on JC?
I knew you were going to ask me that. To be honest, don't really have a clue about it, if I'm totally honest with you. But you mentioned it's good for sort of PvP, so it's something I'm going to have to do a bit of research into, and especially if it is good for sort of PvP.
Well, it will be. JC enchanting, that combo specifically for arena. I'm not saying PvP in general, because if you're doing battlegrounds, you'll probably want engineering, but in arena, you're going to want JC enchanting. So I'm sure you will have a dual crafter.
I'd say I'll do a bit of research on it, and go from there.
So, Loader or Cutie, have either of you got another point that you're excited about?
No, I think we covered.
Already
I've
covered.
got one more. It's only a small point, but it's the introduction of flying mounts. I think it's a bit of a sort of 50-50 opinion on that. Some people are happy about it, some people aren't, especially people mentioning about PvP died down when flying mounts were introduced. But the fact is, you can get around a lot quicker. It just makes it a lot easier, especially if you're farming items and things as well.
I'm not going to comment too much on that. If Meta or Cutie have got anything to say, then feel free. You'll understand why in a little while why I'm not going to comment on that too much, because it might be on my something I'm anxious about list.
Yeah.
But Cutie,
the 60% one, the 60% fly mount's fine. The other one, at 280%, I think that's where the issue lies, really, because obviously the slower flying mount it had to be used to get to certain terrain, like for instance Tempest Keep. You couldn't even get up to it without flying mount. Stuff like that is fine, but when the mount speed is too fast, it just kind of forces you to unexplore the game, because you can just fly around and you barely actually get to see the world below you, and that's the only issue I don't have an issue with the slow flying mount, because then people still would use the ground mount as fast.
Yeah, and it sort of it makes flight paths redundant as well, which I know it's that's not a big issue, but it's like, well, they're there for a reason. I think the flight path should always be the quickest way to get to a destination.
Yeah, I think one of the greatest sights in World of Warcraft is when your guild is all mounted up the flying path to to Blackwing Lair, and you're all on your griffins and you're all going into the sunset. 40 of you. I think that's one of the greatest sights in World of Warcraft, but obviously you don't. That just dies down in a TBC, because you can just manually go whichever way you want with the flying mount, or just be summoned.
I was going to say that whole flight thing you were talking about. I've never seen because I'm always that lazy prick who sits there waiting for a summon. Cool. All right. So we've done the things we're excited about. So I'm going to let Meta. I'll let you kick off with something you're anxious about, but I need to go AFK for 30 seconds, so I'm relying on you boys to keep it flowing. So something you're anxious about. Go on.
I guess just the raids either being too easy, like not tuned, or not time gated, like and everything being released at launch. The raids just getting cleared in like a matter of like a few weeks by over try-hard players, and then the players much better gear than everyone else, and you become imbalanced. Open world PvP will become balanced, and everyone will be ganking you with like fat storm heralds they farmed Nether Vortex, SSC, and just issues like.
Yeah. So I think that sort of comes down to my first point as well. It was like the initial launch. You know, it's going to be very contested. The amount of people that are going to be playing it, especially for the quests and things. You know, quest items, mobs, things like that. Is it going to be hectic as it like was on classic? Classic launch, it was just manic for a good couple of days. So is that going to be the same on TBC, or is that going to change? I don't know.
Yeah, they probably won't have enough layering, and the server queues are going to be absolutely insane again, probably because they won't make enough servers because they're too lazy.
Yeah, exactly, definitely, 100%.
Obviously, I did miss that, but what was it? Just repeat, just for a second.
Me or
Yeah. What was the thing you was anxious about?
the first thing or second thing? I think I've said about 20 things now.
Have you? Was I gone that long? I only aimed for 30 seconds.
Together, really. What Metagoblin said, and then sort of went on to my point. It was fairly sort of similar.
Go on then, Loader.
Yeah, so obviously, like the raid's been too easy and
Okay.
not being time gated. And then we talked a little bit about like how there probably won't be enough layering in the zone when people are questing. There's going to be for people to again gank. Absolute.
Yeah, I mean I've got three. I've got three, but don't. Most of them are not even worth talking about. But my main point that I'm really concerned about is the launch, basically, how it's handled. I think that, and I'd say probably the majority of people are looking forward to TBC. It's going to be the same thing, and there's so much debate around it. Is it going to be fresh? Is it going to be you just carry on? Are you going to copy your character to a TBC realm? Is there going to be gold caps? There's so many questions, and I think it's an opportunity really for Blizzard to fuck it up royally if they do it wrong, or just really upset a lot of people to the point where they lose subs. What's your preferences? Like Meta first, what would be your ultimate way of TBC launching?
Like utopian classic TBC.
Yes.
Well, my utopian view of it would be, you imagine a Battle.net app, and the classic WoW isn't just in some shitty Dropbox window from World of Warcraft. It has its own section in Battle.net. It's called Legacy World of Warcraft. You log in, and then you've got multiple different realms that you can play. So you'll have classic, fresh classic servers, fresh TBC servers from level 0. You'll have servers that continued from classic, and you'd even have. It would be cool if you also had like fast progression servers where, kind of like I don't know what you'd call it. Maybe you call it like around the world, 6 months or something. Like a strange server where like all the content comes out in the space of about 6 months. The Frostmourne server, the Raffle where they release all of their content in the space of a year, so the content comes out very fast. So it's more of a challenge, just kind of get the content quickly. I think it'd be cool since there is a lot of try-hard people out there who like to clear raids straight away, like 20 minutes of it being released. I think it should make realms for those people, more catered to more try-hard people, where the content is extremely fast. So you got Karazhan will come out when it's released, and then 6 months time, Sunwell will be out. So all those try-hard players could try hard, and they're like left on their own, some try-hard server, and they they're not like we're all casual. So kind of like, obviously it would segment the community a little bit, but I think they should have different servers that basically cater to different wants.
Yeah, so seasonal servers is what I think you're getting at.
Yeah.
Yeah, proper seasonal servers, which I'd be a big fan of. Actually, to be fair, that would be.
And then they they could quickly progress into the next expansion. So they progress like maybe through a classic all the way to Cataclysm in a space of 2 years. So I think something like that would be.
Well, I actually said recently, I can't remember whether I said it on stream or on a video, but I said it would be amazing if, like, we know we're going to get a TBC release. I think that's fairly inevitable. But how good would it be if the big announcement at BlizzCon was they weren't just releasing TBC, they was releasing WRAF at the same time? So you choose what you want to play. You'll progress on to from 60 to 70, and then there's a separate server that's just WRAF. I mean, I think if they've got the content there, just get it out. It's recycled content at the end of the day. They'd bring so many subs back that want to play RAF, so many subs back that want to play TBC, and it's exactly what you're saying.
It would kill a lot of private servers, because everyone on private servers would to play private servers anymore. Just play retail.
So Blizzard are winning, aren't they?
Servers people who play them would. Yeah, they'd get a lot more people playing, because obviously a lot of people. Private server community is quite big, and all of those people would probably go and play retail.
Yeah, exactly. And I love the idea of seasonal servers, actually. I think that would be amazing. Like hard resets every 12 months. That would just be, with fast leveling, where the leveling's sort of irrelevant. It's like do times 5, times 7, whatever you want.
2 raid lockouts as well.
Yeah.
2 raid lockouts a week. We'll raid on a weekend during the week.
Yeah, I mean, that's got me quite excited.
Impossible to get everyone. Yeah. It's probably impossible to get everyone like geared up, wouldn't it? Content's too quickly, so you probably would be 2 red lock.
Yeah, definitely. Well, what's your thoughts on that? Obviously, QE from a big private server player like yourself. What do you think if Blizzard was to do something like that officially?
Well, first of Meta talked about him maybe being a bit scared that content might not be gated in TBC, and I definitely think Blizzard will gate content, as you can easily make like 5 phases, type 4, type 5, Suleiman, type 6, Sunwell. And at the same time, we talk about Blizzard, and why not like milk all the money you can by making more phases than like 1 phase, pretty much, with all the content being available. But like regarding like releasing different expansions at the same time, I could see it being like a nice thing, but on the other hand, like it's also good that then now we're gonna have TBC most likely at some point, and then you're gonna have RAF after, so you can progress with the character in case there's not gonna be fresh server. But definitely, it would be nice if you had RAF coming really soon as well, and TBC and Kata, so you could play whatever expansion you would like to play, instead of like being forced to now play either retail or classic.
Yeah, I totally agree. Right, what about you, Loader? I know, obviously, I don't know where did your WoW experience really start? Like you said, it weren't in TBC.
So I played vanilla, and then sort of stopped, and then I played up to sort of Legion, I think. Retail stopped. BFA come out. I played for a week or 2, didn't like it, and then that was it. And I waited till Classic come out. So not a great deal of experience, to be honest.
So, would you like to be able to play what expansion you want? If they sort of brought it out.
Like QT said, it was the idea of being able to choose the expansion you want to play. It's I think that will bring a bit more of a bigger audience. People will enjoy that more rather than being stuck to one.
Well, I just think when they must have that. I know they had to sort of rebuild Classic, but they did say that they had all the TBC content, they had all the coding, they had everything. They just didn't have it for vanilla when they was relaunching Classic. So if they've got everything, why wouldn't you? Let anyone play whatever expansion they want. I think then you're catering to quite literally anybody who's interested in World of Warcraft, and it would only do them favours, I would have thought. I'm sure they've got a master plan, which will probably be shit, but I reckon they've probably got one.
Can I say something regarding that?
Of course.
They have retail, and I think if they released RAF as well and TBC, they would lose like a lot of people who would pay a sub for playing retail because the other expansions like so great, and that would also probably have like more people developing those servers instead of like focusing on retail. So I think they might not never do something like that because they also need to promote retail, and the moment they have like less developers for retail, can't really work something great out like they can't already. If you see current Shadowlands or BFA, it was a mess. And if they all of a sudden have to like use their developers on other projects, they can't like release anything good in retail then.
So what about if they done Classic Plus, which is obviously that was another hot topic, particularly on YouTube. It was, are they going to go TBC or Classic Plus? So Classic Plus, for anyone who don't know, was the notion that it would be Classic will continue at 60, but there'll be new content. So maybe it would be like something like Hyjal, because at the end of the day, it's already there. Caverns of Time's already there. If they started making new raid tiers, but yeah, obviously still at level 60. Like, what's your thoughts on that meta?
Yeah, it's a difficult, because obviously when it comes to the story, because obviously the story continuing, I definitely think there's some great potential to do some cool things like in raids, or maybe even adding or changing is viable, meme specs viable to make the game. They could have done a lot with that, but they probably won't do anything because obviously it's they actually have to do something, like developing stuff. And I don't think I think Blizzard's probably just going to take the like easiest route to to make money, which is like
exactly.
spending money.
Definitely.
It's like that's why they won't release like loads of expansions at once, like Fake QT said. They probably won't do it because it would take too many people away from retail. And retail makes them a lot more money than classic TBC because the only money we're paying is subscription. Whereas people on retail, they're buying gold, buying pets, and buying level what is it, 100? No, it's level 50 now. So they're buying like level 50 boosts and max level boosts and all that thing. So obviously retail makes them loads of money, but don't want to draw too many people away from playing retail. Really.
Yeah, it's a good point. That
financial sense keep people going to retail.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, no, that's a really good point. I mean, I must admit, I am surprised we haven't seen game time tokens in Classic. I expected it to come. Obviously, it was the wrong call because it hasn't come, but I did expect that we was going to see it. But Classic Plus, like Mike's just said in chat, they could release Classic Plus, and then now it's their own baby again, so they can do what they want with it. They could add boosts, they could add WoW tokens. I suppose they could start monetizing it better. Because at the moment, when you really think about it, Classic is free. I know you either play Classic or you play retail. There's a lot of people that play both, though. But, for anybody who plays retail, Classic is free. And for anyone who plays Classic, retail is free. So it's like, it's it is a weird one. I think they probably they could monetize it better if they tried, but like you said a minute ago, Meta, they're going to do whatever is easiest, the least path of resistance, and makes money still. So if that's releasing TBC where they've got it all already and they can just send it out, beta test it for 8 weeks.
Sorry.
Come on,
it's like it's strange just how monetized retail World of Warcraft is, because if you're paying a subscription every month, you expect like you're already kind of should already get the premium service, because like whenever you get subscribe to anything like Squarespace or Audible, you get a premium service, you get the product. Like even if you subscribe to World of Warcraft and expected to get the premium product, you don't. Well, you do, but like it's still monetized with microtransactions. It just doesn't make a lot of sense, because normally some games come out and they are free to play, but then you have microtransactions, which is fair enough. The game's free. World of Warcraft isn't. It's like it makes no sense.
Yeah, it's absolutely true. And the fact that you need to buy expansions, you're buying the game, then you're paying monthly on top of it. Obviously, it's all, and then buying boosts, buying mounts, buying pets, buying gold. I mean, they have got it wrapped up in retail. To be fair.
Like talking about Classic Plus as well. If they release Classic Plus, they can't really go onto TBC then, because if you look at current Tier 3 next gear, it's almost as good as like most of the pre-raid base gear for Karazhan Tier 4 content. And if you then have to like do Classic Plus with another raid content with even better gear than next, then all of the sudden this gear would be probably as good as Karazhan gear, and then you couldn't really go into TBC because the first, raid content would be useless. And how do you get like back on track, story-wise, from Classic Plus, and then back to vanilla? No, sorry, back to TBC.
Yeah, so Classic Plus would. Yeah, once they'd made that decision, that's it. Now they know they're going to have to keep developing for years. Whereas TBC, they know they've got very little to do. It's going to happen. I mean, I'm more or less 99% sure that we are going to get TBC. Obviously, I've already voiced my opinion several times on several videos, several streams on how I think it's going to launch. So I won't keep going over that, but it just makes sense. They've only got to look at the success of Classic, that they've basically brought however many hundreds of thousands of subscribers back to play content that they had to put a bit of work in for, but it ultimately comes down to that survey that got sent out. Everybody probably on this bloody stream now has done a video on that survey that went out, and it's ultimately going to come down to that. If they've got 51%, and that's if you was to split it 51-49, if you've got 51% of people on that survey said we want TBC to come and we want it to come to follow on like a regular expansion from a Classic server, then they're going to try and please the majority. So then they'll do a Classic server that you copy your character to, so you can stay at 60, but all the servers progress on. If it went the other way, where 51% was like, no, we don't really want TBC, we just want Classic, we want to stay at 60, then they'll probably make TBC servers that you copy your character onto. So I mean, I hope they do release the what that poll came out as, but they won't. But because they'll just do what they want and what makes them the most money, ultimately, because they're a business. That's what they're going to do. But I do think that would have actually made a difference, and I hope that everybody who got that poll did actually, reply to it. I did. Mm-hmm. But all right, I think we've been on that topic for quite a while. So what are we doing? So we're still looking at things we're anxious about. So we've sort of done. I think we've covered a little bit of content being too easy, because that's one of mine. I'll just go through the ones that I've got here quick, because I'm conscious about time. We've already done an hour. So content being too easy is one of mine. As in, if we go in and everything's pre-nerf, so we go in at 2.4.3. All the raids have been nerfed. Nightbane now takes all damage rather than just physical and holy, which is, its pre-nerf state, which makes the ads very difficult to handle. There's also many differences between between private servers, between Endless and Karazhan, for example. Aram, on Endless you can kill the elementals. On Karazhan you can't. And not being able to kill the elementals at 40% makes that fight a lot more difficult. I want and I hope that we get very, very, very difficult raids. So people who are playing Classic at the moment, where everything's a joke, it does start to get more challenging. But one of my concerns is that that's not going to be the case. And tying in quite closely with that is itemization as well. So 2.0 itemization on Karazhan versus 2.4.3 itemization on Endless, they're worlds apart. You've got heroic 5-man gear that's better than the gear that you can get in Karazhan, which makes raiding 10-man, I'm not going to say pointless, because there's still items that are good, obviously, but it closes that gap a lot, where I think, a 5-man heroic should be difficult, the gear should be good, but a 10-man raid ultimately should be more difficult and the gear should be better. So what's your thoughts on that? Start with, let's go Cutie. So.
Man, I don't really have an opinion regarding that topic right now, to be honest. So I think it's better that the other two guys answer that one.
All right, Meta.
Yeah, you may have to refresh my memory a bit. So, did heroic dungeons have before the change? Did they have much worse gear?
Well, it was actually Karazhan gear that got buffed. So in 2.0, Karazhan gear, again, do not quote me on these numbers exactly, but let's say Nazrafim Mindblade, whatever it's called, the one-handed spell power dagger from Prince. I'm pretty sure it had like 183 spell power in 2.0, but then in 2.4.3 it had like 213. But you could get an equivalent of that from a 5-man. Or close to it, They basically buffed all Karazhan gear, so it was more relevant for a raid versus a 5-man heroic. So I think in 2.0 itemization, you'll see a lot more people focusing more on getting keys and doing heroic gear rather than actually doing Karazhan, because most of the gear is it's shit. Honestly, it's really, really bad when you actually compare 2.0 to 2.4.3.
But then again, like, would Blizzard even put all this work into doing something like this? Because they didn't want to in Classic. Why all of a sudden?
So in what way do you mean that? So you mean that they'd just go 2.4.3 itemization straight away?
For sure, yeah. That's what.
That's what I hope. That's what I hope, and I think that would be better because it makes more sense, and it means there's more. Yeah. The gear is actually more balanced.
I mean, at the same time, then Tier 3 is gonna be even more useful, because then like Tier 4 Karazhan gear is gonna be really bad compared to next gear, for example.
Yeah, it would make Tier 3 even better. Yeah, 100%. What do you think, Loader, on that? I mean, I know your TBC experience is limited, but
yeah, it's not really one I can really sort of put an opinion or comment on, because, like I say, I haven't really done a lot of raiding or anything on TBC. So yeah, to be fair, it's all a bit new to me.
I think we could probably all agree, though, hopefully, that it definitely makes sense that 10-man gear should give better than 5-man gear, yeah? I would say that makes sense. Especially when Karazhan, even in a 2.4.3 state, some of the bosses are still quite difficult. You're not going to go in and face roll Never Spike with no tactics.
It should only be like a few pieces from heroic are better than the raid gear. It shouldn't all be on an equal playing field.
Yeah, and it should be those bits from the last bosses, shouldn't it? Yeah, so like when you look at let me just try and think of an item on the fly. Quagmiran's Eye.
Blade Fist.
Or Blade Fist, yeah, Blade Fist, Quagmiran's Eye, even Skulker's Leggings, is it called? The ones also from Slave Pen's Heroic for level wearers. There's those odd items that are really good.
Some boots as well. But prop pally boots. Boots of Righteous Fury. That has more spell power. Karazhan.
Yeah, and that's what you want. Yeah, you want the odd items that basically makes you go and do 5-man heroics. But at the same time, overall, the Karazhan gear, when an item drops, it should be exciting. You should be like, you're in a 10-man raid, you're working as a team, an item drops, you should be like, one of us definitely wants this. Not, oh wait, I've got a pair of blue boots from Sefek Halls that are better than that. It just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I mean, I think dungeon should only be something that you do when you're not raiding, because most people on Classic pretty much, it's a mentality, the PvP grind or gold grind. There's not a lot to do other than the raids. And that's one of the great things about TBC is once you're done with your raid, you can go and do a dungeon.
Exactly.
To get a few little extra good gear next raid. There's actually something to do when you're not raiding.
Yeah, 100%.
Play the game that you pay £10 a month for, rather than waiting to only play it like days a week in your raids.
Yeah, rather than going around getting your world buffs and then logging out for 2 days because you're shit scared to lose them before Wednesday's raid.
Yeah.
Well, that's classic mentality in it at the moment, unfortunately. So, all right, okay. Is there anything anyone else is anxious about that's not been covered?
I have one thing, and that's like no fresh servers, and I guess there's not gonna be fresh servers, but I really hope so. But like bringing my classic economy, for example, onto TBC and bringing my end-game raiding gear, classic TBC, is gonna make my experience really bad compared to if I was starting at level 1. That's definitely like one thing I'm not looking forward to, because I can get instant epic flying mount. I might even bring like 100-200k gold, and at the same time, like all the gear I have is gonna be pretty close to like heroic gear. So I just need to rush to max level, get my flying mount, do my professions, and then run right into Karazhan. That's not something I like compared to like starting at level 1 and then gearing up with green and blue items.
Yeah, well, obviously we like I've said so many times, we know obviously you are definitely private server minded. Do you know what I mean? You've done the fresh start far more times than I have. Me personally, I'm not for a fresh start on TBC if Classic goes to TBC. Reason being is it's not even for myself because I've not invested a great deal of time into Classic, but a lot of people have, you know, those who have gone for Scarab Lord, or they've got Thunder Fury, they've got Sulphurous, they've got, you know, all these things. They're putting the time in now to get it. If you then turn around to them and said, I know you was farming 18 hours a day for, you know, 4 weeks to get Scarab Lord, but you're going to have to start at level 1 and you're losing all that. I'm not sure how that would go down. What do you think, Matt?
Yeah, I agree.
It's hard not to, isn't it, really? Loader, what about you? I mean, as I say, you're the biggest Classic player probably out of all of us, to be fair.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sort of 50-50 on that. I mean, the idea of starting fresh again is quite nice, but then, like you say, all the sort of effort you put into Classic to then have to start again can be a bit of a pain. I don't know. I think personally they're going to do both. I think they're going to be, you know, releasing the chance of you starting fresh for the people who do want to start fresh, and then obviously the servers where you can just sort of carry on.
Yeah, which that would make sense.
Both.
Yeah,
I
so
think I'd
both
rather
worlds, really.
start from level 1, to be honest.
I'd be
I'm not really
tempted.
that massively invested in my.
Yeah, I'd be with you, Matt. I'd be tempted if there was fresh servers. As much as my opinion of the servers carrying on is for other people, it's not for me. But if there was fresh servers, I probably would go on the fresh server because I'm in the same sort of mindset as Fake Cutie, which I wasn't a year ago. I was never in this. I never understood private server players until I started playing on them, and then I like the fresh server feel, the economy reset, everything. Everybody is starting on the same the same playing field, if you like. And yeah, I probably would opt for the fresh if it was available, if it was an option.
I mean, they could just make like fresh servers, and then they could make progressive servers as well. So those who have like invested a lot of time into Classic and who wants it like to be easier, sure, they could like move their character. But like those who wanted to start without like bots going on for over a year, like people have been botting for more than a year now and still not, getting banned, and that's really bad for the economy and progression wise.
Yeah, and like Loader said, I do agree with him, as in I could see him doing both. I hope they do both, and if they do, I'm definitely going to be on a fresh server. Even though I'm investing now, obviously you guys know I'm leveling a Paladin, trying to get to 60, going to try and get some gear, do some knacks on it and stuff, but still, I would ditch that and start fresh given the opportunity.
Yeah, agree.
So we're going to have to do these next points really quick because, as I say, it's been like hour and 10 minutes now. Don't want people getting bored. So just round the table, be really brief, obviously, but a bit of an explanation why as well. So we'll start with Fake Cutie. What class are you most excited about and why? And what class will you not play and why?
I'm going to stick to Mage. I have my 60 on Classic as a Mage, and definitely gonna stick to that one. Don't want to level a new character all the way up to 60. At the same time, I've always played Mage on private servers, so my knowledge in that class is better than like restarting. And at the same time, I know like rating wise, I won't have to be Frost spec or Fire spec. I can actually swap in between for like different content. It's gonna be good. And then like PvP wise, Mage is just really awesome, and so many opportunities to play different comps.
Cool. What are you not going to play?
No, none of the other classes.
So you're going to avoid everything other than Mage because Mage is overpowered, right? Cool.
Exactly, yeah.
This is one I must admit I'm really interested in knowing, Meta, because obviously I've seen you do bloody hundreds of videos on loads of different classes, but what on a classic TBC launch, what is going to be your class?
Well, I've always been a bit of a class slut, to be honest. I just like them all so much, so I find it difficult to commit to one class. And yeah, in TBC, I just want to play them all. There's some I don't want to play. I don't want to play healer really, so I don't want to play Resto Druid or Holy Priest or something like that. But pretty much everything else.
What's going to be your first character though? What's going to be your first character that you get to 70?
I don't know. It's gonna be between, I think, a Warlock, Shaman, Paladin.
Hunter, Druid, Rogue, Mage.
Yeah, I was tempted to do that. Yeah, I just want to play them all, to be honest.
Oh, that's cool. Well, yeah, that's cool. But at least we know you don't want to be a healer. So,
but then, like, I don't know. I kind of like Shaman healing though, because I did a lot of Shaman healing on a vanilla private server, and I really enjoyed it. It's difficult.
Yeah, I can tell. I mean, you're very indecisive.
Just because the game's so good.
Exactly. TBC's that good that you want to level them all.
Like, if it was retail, it'd be a very different story. I wouldn't want to play any of it. Probably just Death Knight.
I know you love a DK on Wrath of the Lich King.
Yeah. That's where my heart is, really. That's why it's so difficult to decide on. I'll play Death Knight.
Well, you've got to look at TBC as a stepping stone to Wrath. If we get a TBC Classic, we know we're getting a Wrath Classic because that's the peak of the subscribers. So your DK dreams on a live server will come true.
Yeah, hopefully. But I am honestly a bit too burnt out.
I think we're all in that boat.
I end up playing something else if Wrath came up.
Ashes of Creation, we'll all be on it, mate.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm more excited. Fresh MMO to be.
Ashes looks really good, but I don't want to go off topic. That's next week.
Will do.
Loader, what you gonna play? What you're not gonna play?
Class I'm going to play is it's going to be the Warlock. It's my go-to character, especially on Classics. One I enjoy the most out of the classes I've got. Again, good in PvP, PvE, especially in TBC. I know the SL spec is going to be really good. And the class I don't want to play is Paladin. I've never played it in Classic, and definitely don't want to play it in TBC. Just the whole sort of hybrid sort of class is just, I don't know, I just never really thought about playing it, to be fair.
Yeah, fair play. So mine's going to probably shock most people that know what I do. So class I'm most excited about, this is so random, is Shaman. And the reason it's Shaman is obviously for, as an Alliance player, having totems and hero and everything, as the classes that I play. So as a feral druid, having a Shaman in the group is immense. As a boomkin, having a Shaman in the group is immense. I would choose a Shaman over a Shadow Priest. There's both of those, and Feral and Balance both rely quite heavily on a Shadow Priest. But I would sacrifice the Shadow Priest and have a Shaman in the group just because, the pure damage output from totems and hero is obviously very, very nice. I know, guys. Kronos, not Druid. I should be saying Druid, but I'm speaking on behalf of a Druid and saying that as a Druid I would much rather have a Shaman. It's exciting to get Shamans as an Alliance, and if I was Horde I'd probably be saying Paladin, because having blessings and auras, Hand of Protection, Blessing of Freedom, all these sorts of things that you've played for a year and a half, 2 years on Classic, not having to now have is immense. So I definitely, as an Alliance player, Shaman is what I'm excited about. What I would avoid like the plague is warriors. So warriors, I no particular reason. Warriors are great. Warrior tanks are so strong in TBC. Arms, every raid's going to want one. Fury, no one's going to want. But I don't like warriors. I've never liked warriors. I got a max level warrior in Wrath of the Lich King. Got Deathbringer's Will, Shadowmourne in Wrath of the Lich King. But I don't like playing them. I just don't like playing a warrior. So what I definitely will not get to 70 in in TBC, is a warrior. Now we've covered all that off, one sentence, and then we're ending. So in one sentence, fake cutie. Why should maybe 2 sentences? Let you have 2. Why should people play TBC?
Well, because if you play classic, and you're forced to play a spec pretty much rate, and in TBC, this is not the case in the same way. You can like play as tank healer, DPS, druid, paladin, and like I think that's really awesome. Not forced to play something you don't like. You're forced to it because else you can't raid. At the same time, we get daily heroics and arenas, so it's not only gonna be raid logging, but you can actually do arenas if you want to progress in PvP, or you have to do your daily heroic, because eventually there will be new badge gear that is gonna be really awesome. For example, in the Sunwell patch.
That was the longest 2 sentences I've ever heard, but brilliant. So
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Meta, see if you can keep it to 2 sentences or less. Go on.
Karazhan. I'll give you 2 words.
that was brilliant. Yeah, no, I'm fully on board with that. Loader.
Just a lot more enjoyable content. You know, the new dungeons, and obviously the introduction of Arena.
Okay, and mine's not going to be quite as short as Meta's, but close. Stepping stone to Wrath of the Lich King. That's it for me. TBC is going to be great. I love TBC, but it's a stepping stone. So, guys, that is it. We've covered all the points we wanted to cover. Everybody who's watching, I hope you enjoyed it. If you're re-watching back on YouTube, on any of our channels, I hope you enjoyed it. Meta Goblin, Fake QT, Loader, thank you so much for agreeing to coming on here. This is going to be a regular thing. All 3 of you are welcome every single week, 4 p.m. BST on Sundays. But yeah, until next week, peace out.
Yeah, cheers,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah.
Right, now, everyone on the stream, I'm going to end the stream, but I'm going to be back streaming in about half hour, something like that. Need to have a piss, get some more beer, and then probably get dressed up as a woman or something, and I'll be back on. But yeah, I'll be back in a bit on the stream, guys. Thanks for watching.
Have a great
Cheers,
Sunday.
guys.